Welcome to Old Classic Car and this collection of 150 photographs of classic minis. We begin with a very smart grey minivan at the Goodwood Revival a few years ago with an Austin J40 pedal car on its roof. And that's followed by a 1970s Mini bearing some features of earlier cars such as the small backlights. An early Morris pickup truck TJL94. This is a December 1961 registered Mini pickup with the 848cc engine. Another Mini here, 70s Mini with earlier features, badged up as an Austin Cooper S. And 621 AOK. This is the first Morris Mini produced in 1959, the 6th production Mini of all. Next up we've got 300BXM. This is an October 61 Mini, at one time owned by Dame Margot Fontaine, the famous ballerina. A fantastic Batman era Mini ice cream van. This was at the Goodwood Revival. And a 1966 Morris Cooper S. Here a rear three-quarter view of a 1969 registered Mark II. And I think this was a Haynes Motor Museum. We've got a 1965 Mk1 Austin Mini here, deluxe version. One of the many limited edition Minis. This is the Mini Advantage of the mid-1980s. Another 80s example, this is from 1985. Here's the Bad Obsession Motorsport Mini Project Binky, a very famous Mini online. That's followed by a J registration to 1970 Leyland Mini Mark III on 10-inch Mini light wheels. The rear three-quarter view of a Mark II, F registration, so that'll be about 1967, Devon registration. A late 1970s minivan now, a Mini 95 van as they were called. Head-on view of a 1980 1275 GT. Next up, a V registration 1979 Mini 95 pickup. 651 FRX, that's a Morris Mini Estate, or the Traveller rather, from January 1964. And here we've got a 1976 Leyland Mini, our registration, very original looking car. A great Mini Cooper here, one of the later Rover Mini Coopers with a rally chopper bicycle on its roof rack. Another minivan, this one a wire edge one from 1982, one of the last I would imagine, on reverse rim steel wheels. This was just a few months ago at the Historic Rally Festival at Weston Park. We've got a rally prepared 1275 GT. Continuing with the classic minis, we've got the first of several vintage photos to feature in this particular collection. Here we've got a car prepared for club rallying and motorsport events. Two minis here, a van in the background with a saloon grille, and in the foreground a Mark III from 1976. This was at the Alton Park Gold Cup several years ago, a classic racing prepared Mini. We've got a 1973 registered Mini, again on the reverse rim steel wheels. 1972, we've got a GT badged Mini Clubman here, again at Alton Park. And at the same racing circuit, a side view of a Mark 1 Cooper S at speed. Continuing with these classic minis, we've got a Mini derivative. This is the Riley Elf, an example from 1966. Posher interior, different front and extended bootlid area. Next up, a head-on view of OCR 378, that's a 1275 Rover Mini Cooper from 1999. There's a really nice Mini City from 1980 or 81. And this green machine is a 1976 prototype, the Leyland Mini, the gearless prototype with the 9X experimental engine in it. That's followed by a 1964 Cooper S at the Goodwood Revival again. Back to Alton Park and 244 FYF, that's a 1962 Mk1 Mini with the 998cc A Series engine under its bonnet. This one's signed up as a twin-engined Mini. There was the Twinny back in the 1960s, but if you can shed more light on this green car, please pop a note in the comments. Here we've got a lineup of classic Minis, including Clubmans and the standard-bodied cars, where comparisons can be made. For the 33 BBL, this is a work-style Mk1 Cooper S. Very much in the spirit of the cars run by the competition department in the 60s, and that's followed by a 73 Mk3 Mini on the period Cosmic or Dunlop Alley wheels. Next registration 1981 Mini here, this is one of the highest spec versions I think. 4 classic Minis at Capesthorne Hall Classic Car Show earlier this year. There's that minivan with the saloon front end again. A rear 3/4 view of another Mini pickup from 1979. It's a Warrington registration I believe. Another period photo, a Mk1 Mini Deluxe with period roof rack. Not sure where that is, but if you recognise that high street please let me know. This is a very restored Crayford convertible version of a Mk1 Mini. This was found as a complete ruin and fully restored by its owner. LBL 6D, this is a famous ex-Monte Carlo 1967 Monte Cooper S as driven by Rauno Aaltonen. To the NEC Classic Car Show, and we've got a 1977 registered police minivan. A couple more classic Minis. In the foreground is a 848cc car from April 1963 registration. A rear view of 8086KF, that's an August 63 registered 1275 Cooper S, single fuel tank by the look of it. A side view of a much later classic Mini of the 1980s or early 1990s. The rear 3/4 view of a brown Mini 1275 GT from 1975 or 76. Very wet day. Another mid-80s silver Mini, very smart, on 12-inch wheels by this time of course. A really smart little Morris Mini Traveller, F registration, so that'll be what, 1967 to 1968 or thereabouts, one of the Woody cars. A really smart 1979 Mini 95 pickup, this one in green this time, with the original canvas tilt frame on the back there. A 1972 Mk3 Mini. A slightly later Mini taking part in a classic car parade. This was only a couple of years ago I think. UHR 850, this was down at Gaydon, the British Motor Musum. This is a very famous Downton tuned car. This was their development car and occasionally it was raced. And the other main Mini derivative produced by the factory was the Wolseley Hornet, alongside the Riley Elf with the extended boot area and a different front end. And here's that red Mini that featured earlier on, probably a 70s body shell with the early style front and back lights, 10-inch wheels. Back to Alton Park and the Gold Cup, and we've got a blue and white Mini this time at speed out on the circuit. Continuing with these classic Minis, we've got DSK 970. This was registered in May of 1962. It's a standard 848cc car with a Evershaw roof rack I think. And there's a 65 Austin Cooper S. Couple of Minis, one newer, one older. 590 ELM is a October 63 registered Mk1. There's another Mini 1275 GT, of course based on the Clubman shape. Head-on view now of a 1982 or 83 Rover Mini. Another much modified Mini, this is from 1972. This battered old Clubman body shell was found in the tunnels at the old Longbridge factory, straightened out slightly and put on display in the British Motor Museum at Gaydon. Here we've got another 1275 GT on the original De Novo run flat type wheels. Another Mk1 here, another Morris Cooper S. Side view of a Mk2 Mini Cooper. Again on the Dunlop alley wheels. My uncle had those on his GTM. 724 LNY, that's a June 1961 Austin Mini Mk1. Not one but two rare Clubman estates with a fake wood effect down the side. H registration, the car in the foreground from 1969. There's a front end view of a fairly early minivan that we spotted in Portugal a few years ago, with extra windows cut in the side but the vent flap in the roof. There's another much modified Mini, this one from 1980 at the NEC Classic Car Show back in 2017 I think. The 33 EJB, that's the famous ex-Paddy Hopkirk Monte Carlo Mini Cooper S. Got a T registration minivan now, and reverse rim wheels, but otherwise looks fairly standard. That's from 1978. Another classic Mini with a trailer made from the remains of another Mini. And the Crayford convertible version of the Wolseley Hornet, as offered as in a competition back in the 1960s. A Heinz competition, and that was the prize. Next up, another Mini 95 pickup, this one from 1973 on 10-inch Mini Light wheels. And a 1964 Austin Mini Mk1, again on 10-inch Mini Lights. A W registration to 1980 or thereabouts, Mini 1275 GT. There's a 65 Morris Cooper S. Still plenty of classic Minis to go. And here we've got a race prepared Austin Mini Cooper at Alton Park quite a few years ago at the Gold Cup. And this M51500C, this is prototype of Binky, a proposed Mini with the K-Series engine under its bonnet. The Riley Elf from 1967. And a 66 Austin Mini Cooper S at speed over at Alton Park. A close-up view of the front of a Innocenti Mini Cooper 1300, an Italian-built version of the Mini Cooper. Various differences compared to the UK car. Here we've got a very original-looking 1973 unrestored Mini Clubman estate, another with the wood effect down the side. F registration here, so 1967 to 68. Mk2 Mini Cooper by the look of it. Again on Mini Lights, bright red. And a cutaway version of a Mk1 Mini here. Just showing how all the packaging went together. Alekis Agonis, of course, responsible for the bulk of that. Here we've got a fairly early 1970 Mini Clubman at the NEC with a Mini Moke alongside. There's a close-up of the engine installation in a Cooper S down at, I think this is possibly Race Retro. 4 classic Minis, different types, in a convoy of classic cars recently. Got a minivan in the foreground. Another Mini at Alton Park, Mk1, small backlights, slidey windows, exterior door hinges. Another one of the convertible versions of the Wolseley Hornets, the Crayford conversions from 1966. A 1980s Mini, looking a little tired and currently off the road, I think. Nice Mk1 Mini Deluxe here with the full-length sunroof and racy door mirrors. There's a Mini 30 from 1989 celebrating 30 years of the Mini in production at that time. Also available in black. And we've got an M registration 1973, Mk3 Mini I believe. We've got another Mk1 there. Morris Mini Cooper from 1966 on non-standard wheels. This is a replica of a minivan used by Bruce McLaren for testing wings for the Can-Am cars of 1968. And then we've got an 8-reg 1969 Mark II Austin Mini Cooper S. Very smart indeed, a roll cage in the back, extra Lucas lamps on the front. And here's an ERA Mini Turbo. Great little car. WJB 807, that's an October 1960 registered 848cc standard Mini. We've got an Austin Mini Estate, the Countryman version, 1966. And the Clubman with the Dunlop wheels. This was at the Tatton Park Classic Car Show many years ago, possibly in the auction area. Did you buy it? That's followed by a 66 Morris Mini Cooper, reverse rim wheels, otherwise really original looking car. And up in the heavens we've got a Mini Moke, designed with the army in mind, but they weren't too keen. Next up, a 67 registered Mark II Cooper S. Pair of minis now, in the foreground one of the 1.3i cars, the Rover Mini Cooper. 12-inch wheels, of course, by that time. We've got GNP 677S, that's another one of the 9X prototypes with the experimental 9X engine and slightly revised bodywork at the front. That came to nothing. Then we've got BAS 647, that's a June 61 registered Mark 1. Got an N-Reg now, a 74 Mini Clubman, with a full-length sunroof, period Wolf Race Alley wheels. Very modified mini pickup, 12-inch wheels. Of course, back in the day, they were all on the 10-inch wheels, these were. And the Morris Mark 1 7687EL, that's a 59 car, no window recess. That's one of the giveaways of the very first 59 cars. Got a couple of Morris Mini Cooper S's at Goodwood now. And a view of a late L registration 1.3i Rover Mini Cooper. The I, fuel injection of course by that point in time. And a G-Reg Mark II, a Cooper S. And the 1980s, or rather 1990s, circa 1998 Rover Mini Cooper. And a Swiss registered car at Goodwood. Two classic minis here. We've got a Mini Clubman in the foreground and a standard Mini in the background. Somewhat modified matte black Mini with an Estate alongside. The late example of the fuel injected Minis. One of the special edition cars alongside it. Head-on view of a 1968 Mini Cooper. That was at a Welsh show back in 2006. Another interesting modified Mini here, badged up as a Cooper. And this Mark 1 we spotted on the roadside in Portugal for sale. I wish I'd made a few inquiries now, but we just took a photo and carried on. A Clubman fronted Estate car here with a very boxy roof rack. 1964 Rally Prepared Mini here. This was at the Historic Rally Festival at Weston Park in 2021. Slightly damp day, but a good turnout nevertheless. And that's followed by a 69 Mini van. That's the original example, still with the pressed tin front on it, not a car radiator. Various Minis here in the lineup. The Mini pickup with a non-original grille and wheels. Another one of the Rover era Mini Coopers. PBV 515, That's an Austin 7 Mini of 1962. Looks like a deluxe to me. The minivan, a smart two-tone example in black and white. That was at the Tatton Park Classic Car Show a long time ago. And the 64 car here. Still a few minis to go. Head-on view of 223FH. That's quite a smart Mk1 Austin badged version of the Mini. We got another 65 Austin Cooper S. Two old Austin vans, a Mini in the foreground and an A35 alongside. Both share the same roof vent. Another 65 Mini Cooper. Its modern equivalent alongside. 5230 VR, that's an August 63 registered Austin Mini. And one of the ERA Mini Turbos. A convertible alongside, no less. Pickup truck down at Goodwood. This appears most years as far as I remember. Fairly early Mini Clubman, an unusual shade of green. Under the bonnet of a Morris Cooper S. Twin SUs, Swift Tune engine. Very nice pickup from 1974. The Wolseley Hornet alongside, or a Riley Elf, one of the two. This is a 1963 Austin Mini Mk1. Quick check of it, shows it's still not on the road, so it must be work in progress somewhere. And here's a 73 Mini Clubman. Just another 2 or 3 classic minis to go. Got another 1275 GT here, somewhat modified with a bull bar on the front, different wheels, shiny wheel arch extensions. A neat little ice cream van, second of those to feature on here. This is a Leyland era Mini from 1972. And to round out, a bit of topiary, a mini-shaped bush outside the car museum down at Bourton-on-the-Water, I think this was. And that rounds out this collection of 150 photos of classic minis. I hope that was of interest. Please check out some of the other videos now on the channel. There's plenty of BMC car content on there. More videos along very soon. Thanks for watching.